Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to the morning recap. The Knicks lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. I forget what the score was already. I think it was 100 to 104 or 100 to 106, whatever it is. The Knicks lost. At this point for me, it's hard for me to be super critical of the Knicks overall, the Knicks team overall, or any individual player. When we get 20 games in, maybe then. But at this point, I'm just going to point out what I see, what I like, what I don't like, what my takeaways are. But again, I'm not going to be super critical. At this point, it's 3 games in. We have to remember this. And I'm not making excuses for the Knicks. They need to be better in the fourth quarter. I'll talk about that. We need timely stops. We need timely shots. I'll talk about that. A few other things that I see as well. But it's just hard for me to be super critical after 3 games, right? So you're not going to get that from me today, but I'm definitely going to, like I said, point out what I like and what I don't like. I have a little more time today, so I should be able to read some more comments, engage, with the chat a little bit. All right, let's get into it. We know who the starters were, the same starters for the Knicks, right? Brunson, Bridges, Hart, Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns. There was some concern that Hart may not, start the game or play in the game due to an injury, but he did start. He did get injured. That was in the fourth quarter, though. We'll talk more about that. For Cleveland, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Dean Wade, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. These are my quick takeaways. Again, I'll get into it more, during the show. The one that got away. I think this was a game that was there for the taking, and I'm not taking anything away from Cleveland, but this is one the Knicks should have won, in my opinion. I'm going to talk about Bridges turning into that dude. A lot of criticism on Mikal Bridges after a few preseason games and a bad first half versus Boston, but he's really rounding into shape, balanced scoring. Towns, in my opinion, need more shots. We'll talk about that. And the minutes are creeping up for the starters. So I'm really interested to see what Knick fans, what the chat have to say about that. So, let's get into it. The one that got away, the Knicks had a 13-point lead, if I'm not mistaken, with under 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Cleveland went on a 13-2 run to close the quarter. And before you can even I hope nobody went to get something from the refrigerator. By the time you came back, they had tied the game up early in the fourth. The Knicks were able to get it within, 3 with under 2 minutes. They didn't get any closer. But here's the thing. You're trying to close out a game. And let me just start here. Teams are going to go on runs. It's really hard to hold a big lead in the NBA. It's just hard with the 3-point shot, just the 24-second clock. It's just really hard to hold the lead. So a 13-point lead with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter against a really good defensive team with some offensive firepower, and Donovan Mitchell, less so in Garland, though you couldn't tell. It is hard to hold the lead. So, you could say, oh, they had a 13-point lead. They should have won that game. They should have held on to the lead. It's really difficult to do in today's NBA. That being said, the Knicks just didn't help themselves at all. Garland hit 15 of 34 shots, 15 of 34 points in the fourth quarter. 15, 3-3-pointers. Now, again, I don't want to be super critical, but the Knicks have 3 to 4 individually good defenders, if not great defenders. McBride, Bridges, Hart, OG, and Anunoby. Again, I don't want to get super critical. You know, we played Boston. Tatum had like 658 points. They did a great job, you know, and Halliburton saw different defenders. Did a great job against Halliburton, 0 points, 0 for 8 from the field. We come here, you know, we playing Cleveland at home, and Garland is just doing his thing in the fourth quarter without any resistance. And that's the thing. Just make it hard for guys. You're not gonna lock superstars down, I should say. Garland, I don't know what's going on. And no disrespect to him. He's a good NBA player, a good shooter as well. Struggled a little bit his first few games. I know because he's on one of my fantasy teams. But he didn't struggle last night against the Knicks. So I just need our individual so-called good defenders to just put a little more pressure on these guys. I don't see any stoppers on this team so far. Stoppers in name only, but stoppers, consistent stoppers, I haven't seen it. Again, it's early. It's 3 games. You know, you do have to get over picks. Um, you do need help, until you're able to get back. I mean, I get all of that. I get all of that. I'm just expecting, maybe I'm expecting too much from our wing defenders. Um, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing at all. The Knicks shot in the fourth quarter, 38%, 20% from three. They shot in the fourth quarter something crazy like 60 some odd. Let me see if I could get to it really quickly. In the fourth quarter, they shot 64.7% from the field and 71.4% from three. And again, the Knicks shot 38% from the field and 20% from three. You're not winning like that. You're not winning like that. Particularly in crunch time, you need timely shot. You can have 50 points. If the game is close, how many did you have in crunch time? You could be a very good defensive team in crunch time when you really need stops. Were you able to get them? And that's the issue I had with the Knicks in the fourth quarter overall, but particularly in the last 5 minutes. They did not get timely stops. Matter of fact, they were turning the ball over and they didn't get timely shots. You know, games like that, I mean, you play like that, you're gonna lose. Everybody who played in the fourth quarter was a negative plus minus. For those who put a lot of stock in plus minus, they were negative, right? It's still early, but I'm kind of concerned about this individual defense. Like that was the big thing coming in. Like the Knicks are gonna really be able to play really good team defense. And for those teams that have superstars or stars on the wing, we're going to make it difficult for them. Other than Halliburton, I haven't seen, um, much of it. Let me just do one more segment and then I'll get to the chat. Like I said, I have a little more time today, so I can talk to the chat a little more. Balanced scoring, which I like. Brunson had 21 points. Bridges had 19. Bridges, we don't talk about him. Hart had 16 points and 13 rebounds, by the way, before exiting the game, I think, with like 4 minutes or so left. And Anunoby with 15 points. McBride off the bench with 14 points. Towns with 13 points. I like the player and ball movement. I like the fact that they're sharing the ball, right? They're not looking for any particular person. They just sharing the ball. Who's ever open, you get the ball and you make a play. You're going to shoot. You're going to drive. You're going to make an extra pass. I like the way the offense is flowing. The player movement, the ball movement. I like it. Again, balance scoring. We had 6 players in double figures last night. But this is where, Knick fans may disagree with me. Karl Anthony Towns has to get more than 8 shots. Now, You could say, oh, well, he got 8 shots last night because he was in foul trouble and the game just didn't go that way. Okay. Okay. But after 3 games, he's averaging 9 shots a game. 9 shots a game. He's shooting, let me get that, 50% from the field, 66.7% from three, and 93.3% from the line. So when you're talking about 50, 40, 90 is the gold standard, he's 50, 66, 93. You got to get him more shots. Now, the challenge is, how do you do that and not force it? Right? You don't want to force it to him, but I'm all for if there's a mismatch. And I'm not saying there was a mismatch last night. I don't think there was. Um, get him more shots. Get him more shots. Even start the offense with him. Because the thing about Towns is, and I don't think this has always been true, but since he's been with the Knicks, he's been pretty patient in the post. He's not taking wild shots. He's taking his time, deciding whether he's going to, take it into the key, whether he's going to look for cutters. He's been super patient with the ball. I really like him with the ball. You got to get him more than 9 shots a game, right? You have to get him. He's taking 5 free throws a game, which is about what he took last season, in Minnesota. 10.7 rebound. I mean, none of us, I don't think, had any questions about his rebounding. He's only taken 2 3-pointers. Last year, he took 5.3. The year before that, he took 5.7. Again, I'm not sure if this is just the Knicks finding themselves, the Knicks not forcing it, Towns not forcing it, or whether this is just schematic. Like they just don't want him taking a lot of 3-pointers. I'm not sure what it is, but just overall, I think he needs more shots. Let me know in the chat. Let me know, the replay gang, in the comments, whether you agree or disagree that Towns needs to take more shots per game. 9 is just not going to cut it. All right. Let me get to a few of the comments in the chat. Salute, JJ. I appreciate you. Towns only getting 8 shots is ridiculous. I agree. Got to be more aggressive. That's an interesting point. The thing about it, and if somebody let me know if there's a place where you can find the touches, because it's one thing, to your point, JJ, is one thing to get the touches and give up shots. That's totally different. It's another to not get a lot of touches. So, maybe, I shouldn't go by shots. Maybe I should go by touches. So if anybody knows where I can find out how many touches he got, that's, that may be a better barometer of him on the offense. Kerry Cox, appreciate you. I said we would go 8-2 over the first 10 games, shaking my head. Listen, I'm okay, and I may be in the minority. If the Knicks are 4-6 over the first 10 games, I'm okay. If the Knicks are 13-7, 14 14-6 is good. If the Knicks are 9-11, one game under 500 after 20, I'm okay. I'm okay. I think we're really underestimating what it takes for a team to come together and get the chemistry and continuity. Now, there are some teams that can win while they're getting chemistry and continuity, and hopefully the Knicks are one of those teams. Hopefully they are. They may not be, right? So I think 8-2, 9-1, 7-3, possible. The 7-3, if they, it's possible. But it's a big ask, with Towns being new and Mikal being new and really not having a bench. The Knicks bench is not very strong. McBride had 14 points. Sure, Huckporty, had a good showing in terms of hustle and things like that. Campaign, has been okay for us, but there's a definite drop off when the bench is in the game, right? Right now, with injuries, we're running 2 starters, with the bench. So, and we'll talk about the starters' minutes creeping up, and I think part of it is because there's a drop off. There's a drop off with the bench. We just don't have enough players at this point. Keith Turner, Cat is horrible in drop coverage. Tibbs needs to stop doing that because Cat simply can't keep up with his man. So if he's not going to drop, then you want him playing up? Is that what you're saying? That's the alternative. Um Tiffington. Tiffington. All right. If this is your first time, in the chat, welcome. If not, welcome back. My favorite creator always says what's on my mind. uh, yeah, shout out to Nick Yak. Appreciate you. Why give Cat more shots when they will all go to waste? But what does defending have to do with shots? And I agree. I think he can be better on the defensive end. I think he will be better on the defensive end. But if you're not a good defender, what better way to make up in terms of being an overall plus than to make sure you're getting after it on the offensive end? So in my opinion, one doesn't have anything to do with the other. He's a 50, 40, 90 guy. He's averaging 9 shots a game. It's not enough. It's not enough. Does he need to be better defensively? Absolutely, he does. But 9 shots a game is not enough. Both can be true, right? All right. Shout out to Sharon. Appreciate you. All right. Darlene Bryan, I appreciate you. Coach Bill or Bele, I appreciate you. All right. Okay. What he said, can we put some respect on Huckport? Respect how? I'm not taking anything away from Huckporty or any of these young guys, but let's not act like Huckporty came in there and we got 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Right? He came in there, he did a good job. He played really good defense on Mobley. But I think us as Knick fans, I think we just get too excited over the tiny things that our guys do because we drafted them. I'm not taking anything away from him. I thought he played really solid in the minutes he got. I thought that Thibodeau showed a lot of trust in him in terms of putting him in with under 5 minutes left in the game. That shows that Tibbs trusts him. So he's trending in the right direction. But can we stop with the acting like Huckporty came out there and scored 10 points and pulled down 12 rebounds? He played okay. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. He played strong. Huckporty, Kolek, Daddier, over the course of a season, they're going to give us good minutes. And Thibodeau said this, and I agree with him. Over the course of an 82-game season, you're going to need everybody. And you are. When it gets down to playoff time, for me personally, in the rotation, I want all veterans, if at all possible. Now, the Knicks may not be able to do that, given who's available, veteran-wise, given the salary cap, they may not be able to do it. But heading into the playoffs, if you're really serious about trying to win a championship, you want to have as many veterans in your lineup as possible because it is the nature of young guys to be up and down. And they have a right to be. That's part of their process. So there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're trying to win a championship, you want to lock down all of those positions with veterans if you can. If you can, right? So shout out to all of our young guys, but let's not act like they out there tearing it up. There is still a drop off, as there is on most teams, between your starters and your in your bench. But shout out to you, Dakosaurus Rex. I'm not hating on your fandom. I'm not hating on your fandom. I'm just telling it as I see it. All right. All right. Yeah. I wanna talk a little bit about Bridges. Like I said in the intro, I thought there was a little overreaction, from the fan base, and that's fine. We're passionate. We're passionate about, about our team, about Bridges, and how many draft picks we gave up, and look at his shot. This guy, I'm telling you, before it's all said and done, he may be that dude for the Knicks. He very well may be that dude for the Knicks. The Knicks have been super fortunate the past few years getting players before they actually pop. This front office obviously didn't sign Randall in free agency, but they got Randall before he popped. They got Brunson before he popped. And I don't even think they thought he would be good. I don't think they even thought he would be this good. Devo, as I mentioned on other shows, had a career year with the Knicks, and I think Bridges is next. Last night he had 19 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 60% from the field. Not that great from the 3-point line. I think he 25%. I think he was 1 for 4, and he didn't go to the line. Right after 3 games with the Knicks, 18.7 points, 2.3 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and a steal. 60% from the field, 35.7% from the 3-point line, only 60% from the free throw line. I'm not super concerned about that because he's an 80% career free throw shooter. We see his versatility in the post, in the mid range, hitting the 3. He can create for himself. He can create for others. You could feature him with that second unit. He can be your secondary ball handler. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Mikal Bridges. Let me know in the chat if your mind has begun to, for those who had a problem with him, and how much the Knicks gave up for him, and how he played in the preseason. For those who have an issue, how you feeling now about Bridges? Right? He is not even scratching the surface of what he can do for this team. Now, defensively, I think he's okay. Hopefully he'll get better. OG has been all over the place. But it seems to me, and Tony Crow, shout out to Tony Crow, Knicks and Bruises, who brought this up. Seems like they're not putting OG on the best perimeter offensive player on the other team, opposing offensive player. They're kind of having him roaming, and man, is he doing a great job defending his guy and anybody else's guy who's in his vicinity. His hand-eye coordination is just unmatched. You got to watch him to appreciate it. It doesn't always show up in the box score, even though last night I think he had 14 points, I believe it was. So let me see. He had 14 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Am I asking too much to get a little more rebounding for OG Anunoby? Just 6. Can we get 6 a game? But yeah, Bridges, in my opinion, is turning into that dude. I'm interested to see what you guys think about it, but I think the Knicks got another one. All right. The minutes, let me check in with the chat quickly before I get into the Knicks. Minutes are creeping up. The starters' minutes are creeping up. Are you concerned? I'm not. Like I said, it's a lot. It's going to take a lot for me to get concerned about anything in these first 10, 20 games, really, to be honest. But yeah, before we get into that, let me check in with the chat. Bridges better than Dante? Absolutely. And in my opinion, it's not even close. If you want to say Dante DiVincenzo, and shout out to him, no shade to him. He had a phenomenal season with the Knicks, and he's a better 3-point shooter than Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges is not a slouch either. But his ability to create on all three levels, Dante doesn't have that. His ability to be a secondary ball handler, to create for himself and to create for others, he doesn't have that. They're just different players, So yeah, I mean, I would love to have Dante on this team with Bridges, but if I had to choose, Bridges, hands down. And I'm not sure how many people, if we put up a poll, probably not just Knicks fans, but just NBA fans, how many people would say that Dante is a better basketball player than Bridges? Um, is he a better fit? I don't even think he's a better fit. I don't think Dante is somebody you could feature on that second unit. Now, I'm not saying he can't score on the second unit. For sure he can. I don't think he's somebody you could feature on that second unit, right? You could just do more things with Bridges offensively. He can score in many ways. He can go hunt and get his own shot. Dante can't get his own. I mean, maybe he can attack a closeout. I don't want to take too much from him, but he's not on Bridges' level when it comes to shot creation. So yeah, I do think that Bridges is better. Josh Hart was questionable this game. Then we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. With Hart getting hurt, we get to see if Deuce is going to start. We do. Unless he's cleared by medical. If he's cleared by medical, he's going to be starting against Miami. Keith Turner. Dante is a better play. Come on, Keith. All right. Let's revisit this at the end of the season. Because remember, Dante wasn't Dante before he became Dante with the Knicks. Right? It's 3 games. When you look at their career, you ask anybody. I mean, if you want to, okay. If you're saying that through 3 games, Dante has had a better season than Bridges has had a 3-game season. Okay. I mean, I disagree, but okay. But if you're just talking about player, you can ask, come on now. I don't even think it's close. What makes Dante better? Because he shoots better, that makes him a better player. He's a better shooter. Does that make him a better player? Even if you think he's a better defender, what else? That one I don't get, but I respect you, Keith Turner. I respect your opinion. Yeah, sure. When I saw him, he was the backup point, but wasn't the backup point with the Knicks. Okay? He wasn't the backup point with the Knicks. Bridges is clear. Like, yeah, yeah. People forget Dante was missing. Yeah, I mean, but listen, as the season went on, Dante, he was good for us. He's just not a Mikal Bridges. All right. We need to have an honest discussion on Brunson too. I know he's our captain. No, I agree. What's the criticism though? What's the criticism? Salute, Jerrell. Appreciate you. Sports guru Dante is a top 5 shooter in the NBA, but that is where it ends. Yep. No doubt about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, Bridges is better overall. Is there some things Dante can do better than Bridges? Sure, he's a better 3-point shooter, but not by much when you look at the numbers. And again, we're comparing an entire season of Dante DiVincenzo and forgetting the games in which he didn't shoot well, right? Forgetting the games in which, other than 3-point shooting, you didn't get much, right? It's like kind of selective amnesia right now when it comes to Dante. But when you take his overall season, he broke the 3-point shooting record for the Knicks. But again, you're going to get more things from Dante. All right. Let's talk about, from Bridges. Salute Ajay. I appreciate you. All right. Oh, yeah. All right. So let's talk about the starters minutes trending up. Last night, Bridges played 40 minutes, Hart 38 minutes, Brunson 37 and a half, Anunoby 37, Towns just 32, but he was in foul trouble. McBride 30. Hukporti played 12, Payne played 10 and a half, Sims played 4. So before the game I think that was Indiana, Hart played 37 minutes. Everybody else was under 34. So it's trending up a little bit. So what's your concern level? I gotta say, for me right now, early in the season, just no concern whatsoever. It's too early in the season to talk about overuse injuries, right? It's 3 games. Even if you play 40 minutes a game, you would have played just 120 minutes, right? It's too early, in my opinion, anyway, to talk about overuse injuries. But this is the key question. What's the alternative? What's the alternative? Because you're still trying to win a game. And as well as Campaign has played, let's just take Campaign, for example. As well as Campaign has played, and last night he played 10 and a half minutes. Let's just say you want to give Campaign 20 minutes. You want to give him an extra 10 minutes. Where are you getting those 10 minutes from? So you're going to play Brunson 10 less minutes? Do you think you're going to win those minutes with Brunson playing 10 less minutes so Campaign can play 10 more minutes? The same thing with Towns and Hukporti. Oh, we're going to bring Towns down to 28 and bring Hukporti up to 15, 16. You think you're going to win those minutes? So it is a delicate balance. I'm not disputing that. It's a delicate balance by Tibbs and the coaching staff to, as the Knicks fans like to say, and to me this is a bit hyperbole, burn out the starters. You got to balance that with also trying to win a game. There is a clear drop off on our bench from other than McBride, and McBride is not Bridges, right? But there's not a steep drop off between Bridges and McBride, at least offensively and even defensively. Even though McBride can do, Bridges can do some things with the ball that Bridges can't. Still, offensively, he can hold his own and he could defend his position, right? Other than that, you bringing Hart's minutes down so that you can play who? Daddier? You think you're going to get the same thing from Hart that you're getting from Daddier? You're just not. So I get it. You do want to, as much as you can, bring these starters' minutes down, but at the same time, you don't want to lose the battle. You know, when you have your bench on the floor, and if you're playing McBride, Campaign, and Hukporti or Sims, either one, Hukporti or Sims, all 3 of them together, you got to run 2 you got to run 2 starters with them, right? We just don't have the bench where you could just put in 5 starters and 5 bench players and let our starters just rock out on the bench. We're just not built that way right now. Now, I heard that the Knicks are looking to sign, I think it's Matt Ryan, from the G League. They drafted him in the G League. He's a sharpshooter. Maybe that'll add to our rotation. Now he gotta gain trust with Tibbs. And Tibbs pointed out, not just with him, with with your teammates as well. So that's going to take some time before he gets in the rotation. Hopefully Precious will be back. The Knicks will go 9. But there is a drop off with our bench. So you got to be careful, and Tibbs is aware of it. Tibbs is aware of it, which is why he's creeping the starters minutes up and playing the bench to make sure they can stay fresh. The starters can stay fresh, but not overdoing it. We lost to Boston. I'm not saying it's the bench fault. We lost to Cleveland. Again, I'm not saying it's the bench fault. But when you're trying to win a game and even if you want to be like, wow, Josh Hart is creeping up to 36 minutes. You know what? I really don't want him to go over 36. Let me see if I could put in a sub. And then you look at the score and you down 6. It makes it hard to make that substitution. So it's a hard choice, and Thibodeau is going to have to figure it out, and hopefully getting Precious back helps. Hopefully Matt Ryan can play. He's not just a sharpshooter in the G League, but he's played on NBA teams as well. But hopefully he can balance out his shooting with doing other things. Because if you're a cone on defense and you're just shooting, it's going to be hard for you to get him to get extended minutes as well. So let's see what happens with him. But let me know if you're concerned about the creep up in minutes. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think that we have to balance our concern with the fact that we're trying to win a game. And our starters give us the best chance of winning, because there is some drop off with our, with our bench players. All right, let me check in with the chat one more time before then I get into our next game, which is Wednesday at Miami. I think the Knicks' next 4 games are on the road. East Blue Drew. I hope it's a chemistry issue, but we bet. East Blue Drew. Are you really concerned that the Knicks won't make the playoffs this season? The Knicks will make the playoffs. It's 3 games in. Kerry Cox, we looking like a 3 seed right now. Okay. I'm not mad with the 3 seed. I'm not mad with the 3 seed at all. Now Cavs contact think they are 4-0. Listen, they beat Toronto. They beat Detroit, I believe it was. They beat Washington. And listen, these are teams that's not great, not expected to go into the playoffs, but they didn't make the schedule. They just played who was on the schedule. And so coming into the Knick game, there was concerns, at least from me, whether or not they were that good, right? Because they haven't really been challenged. And they are. They are. They're ahead of us defensively. They're long. They created issues. Their length created issues for us. But more important, they had the best player in the fourth quarter, and that was Garland. And it just comes down to that. The Knicks had a 13-point lead. Again, losing leads is not uncommon in the NBA. But crunch time is when your best players step up. And we turning the ball over, shooting 20% from 3, 38% overall. It's just not going to cut it in the fourth quarter. And the Knicks have to be better. And I believe they will. But I hear you, Sports Guru. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You could disagree, but respect people's opinion, no doubt. Or just don't come into the show. Like I say that to people all the time. You could disagree with me, with the panel, with each other, but let's just be respectful. Let's just be respectful about it. Like, I don't want to ban people. I don't want to put people in timeouts. We all grown. Like, we all grown. Disagree. It's fine. Greg, shout out to Greg. We need a true point guard, a pass first point guard. I disagree. How many pass first point guards are there? Dame is not pass first. John Morant is not pass first. You know what I mean? So I don't think we need a pass first point guard. I think, as time goes on, Brunson has to get better at when he should score and when he should pass. And the game is going to dictate that. You can't even come into a game thinking that. The game will dictate that. So these past first point guards, and we said this before, it's their aggressiveness that gets the defense in rotation and opens up shots for others. And the key is when those shots open up to hit the guys. And you don't have to hit them every single time, right? It just needs to be a good balance. I think the time of the past first point guard is pretty much gone. Chris Paul, who's on his way out, I think he's in his 17th season, if not more. Um, Halliburton. Other than that, it's a league of shoot first point guards. And shoot first point guards, it can work. It can work. All right. All right. Kerry Cox says we have to start Precious. Okay. I mean, Hart has been playing well for us. I mean, do you think it's just a height issue? Because you ain't getting 13 rebounds from Precious, I don't think anyway. You know, um, Hart is just that dude when it comes to rebound, and we need rebounding help, right? Isaiah Hartenstein and his rebounds out the door. Randall and his rebounds out the door. So we got two, and we're replacing them with one player. In town. The bench was the only one who was plus against the Celtics. This isn't about being, but produce how? How would they produce? Like, what is your definition of production? Right? What is your definition of production? A lot of the production off the bench is coming from McBride and Cam. So what's your definition of production? Are you talking about counting stats? Or are you talking about defense? And I say this, but I want to be clear. I'm in no way am I down on our rookies. Again, over the course of 82 games, they will have some good moments for you. I'm not disputing that. But you're not going to tell me that you're going to get the same thing from Payne that you get from Brunson. You're just not going to tell me that. And I'm a Cam fan. I like what he does in the moments that he gets. All right, enough of that. I'm not addressing that um anymore. All right, let's move on to keys to the game. We play Miami next Wednesday, October 30th. They're 2-1 right now. I think offensive and defensive rating right now, it's too early to put a lot of stock in that. But right now, offensively, they're ranked 18th in the league after 3 games. Defensively, they're ranked 10th in the league after 3 games. They lost to Orlando. They beat Charlotte. They beat Detroit. I think this is going to be a good test for the Knicks. Listen, the Knicks play, I think it is Detroit Friday. That's going to be a good test for the Knicks because this is a team that's just not together yet. Making strides in terms of offensive chemistry, making strides defensively. Sometimes we're there, sometimes we're not. We're making strides, right? So this is going to be a good game for us, and it's going to be in Miami. I want us to continue to play a ball movement. That's been pretty good. The passing has been pretty good. I don't see anybody forcing shots. If it's a crunch time game, and if history is any indication, most of our games against Miami has come down to the last 5 minutes, which is considered crunch time. And that's where you need to be sharp, not turn the ball over, hit timely shots. I don't care if you have 42 points up to that point. Can you make timely shots in crunch time? And can you get timely stops? Right? That's what I'm looking for from the team. And again, crunch time, which pretty much the same team, crunch time execution. Right? So that's Wednesday. All right. I'll be back Thursday. 12:45. I'm not going to have a lot of time Thursday. So if I can't go on live, I'll just drop a video Thursday night, the Just Nickin' It weekly show. me, Geoff, Ajay, Jerrell has been rocking with me from the beginning. Maybe we'll have some guests. So be sure to check me out. Then the Cutting Room Floor podcast, I said Sundays noonish, but I'm going to change that to just Sunday-ish. Sometime Sunday. And I didn't get around to it this past Sunday. But yeah, check me out then. And then the Queen's Court Monday on the Nothing But Knicks channel. Those that know me, I'm the host of Queen's Court. That's where I started before I got my channel. So check me out there with Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises, Lady and the Chef from the Two Knicks Chicks, and of course, Geoff Klafter, panelist on the Just Nickin' It show. And also he has a sports blog, Happily Ever Klafter, a daily sports blog. That link is down below. Thanks for watching. To get my last shout outs, Daxoris, Rex, appreciate you. Coach, appreciate you dropping by. Joe White, I appreciate you. Ajay, East Blue Drew, Paris Duck. Oh, I have a super chat. Paris, I almost forgot about the super chat. I appreciate you. Simple. You want Cat to score, then play a big with him so he's comfortable at the 4. Clearly, Brunson isn't in his bag yet. Drop coverage kills us. Yeah. I'm not liking Cat at the 4. Well, I'll put it this way. I like Cat at the 4 depending on who you have at the 5. If you have a limited center at the 5, I'm not feeling that. The advantage of Cat at the floor is space. The advantage of pairing him with a limited center, no space. There's no space. And not only that, if you got Cat at the 4, now you got Cat defending in space. You got him defending the 4 out at the 3-point line. If that 4 drives, Cat has to move his feet. He's not good in space. So if you think he's bad at 5 defensively, he's going to be even worse at 4 defensively. So I'm not feeling that. But I appreciate the super chat, Paris Duggar. I agree. Brunson isn't in his bag yet. And I think Brunson is being too hesitant. You know, he get in there, somebody comes. Now he's turning around looking for somebody else. Why? You used to put the ball up over the fingertips of an outstretched defender. What's changed? So I do think he has to get back to finishing those shots instead of stopping midway and looking for some an outlet. But I'm glad I got to your super chat before it was over. G. Robinson, I appreciate you. Greg, Paris, of course. Nick Yak, appreciate you. Joe White, Sherman was in the house. Appreciate you. Sports Guru, Nostalgic Nick, appreciate you. I think I missed somebody. Sports Guru. If I said your name twice, it's just because of my condition. You know, I ain't trying to give you an extra shout out. Shout out to the Lady and the Chef. Definitely check her out on the Two Knicks Chicks. They go on Thursdays at 7 p.m. and then Sundays at 11 a.m. Right? Support the channel. Hit the notification button so you know when they go on. The Public Enemy, I appreciate you. I probably won't get to everybody. Wiz in the house. Keith Turner. JJ was in the building early. Kerry Cox. Tiffinton. Hope I got that right. Angel Torres. I appreciate you. Darlene Bryant. We got 2 coaches. Coach Bell. I hope I got that right. I hope it ain't Belly. I think it's Bell. Right? All right. Anyway, until next time, family, appreciate you.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Go so.
Where you at?